Hey, baseball fan, time for a little self-care and a few minutes of cardboard meditation. Welcome to the show that features some of baseball's oddest stories and the cardboard slabs that document them. Find peace and joy through baseball cards with your host, the Big Guy.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Cardboard Meditation. I'm your host, the Big Guy, and I am fixing to celebrate the All-Star Game. The Midsummer Classic is coming up, and it's always exciting this time of year. You get to see maybe your favorite player for your favorite team in your favorite league, although that's not that big a deal anymore. Get the respect and playing time that they deserve. It doesn't matter anymore what league anybody's in. Everybody plays each other throughout the season, and it just doesn't seem to have that same us against them mentality that it used to have, and I used to like that a lot. So, always an American League fan, always. So, but at any rate, that's not the only change that has occurred over the years. There's been a lot of changes. In fact, the Futures game is something that they play, where they get the minor leaguers to come out. The best minor leaguers from each team, they come out and play each other. There's also Home Run Derby, which is kind of one of my favorites. I like to watch that too. And also this year where they're having the Major League Baseball draft this year. So it's a big deal, the All-Star Game and all the events that surround it. And it's got a strange history. Did you know that the original All-Star Game, this is going to blow your mind, was played back on July 24th, 1911? Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh, no. The All-Star Game didn't start until 1933. And you'd be right. However, they put together a little get-together back in, like I said, 1911. And it wasn't an official game. It was not official. But the best players from the American League got together a bunch of volunteers to take on the Cleveland Naps for this one game that they were going to play that was to benefit the widow and children of Addie Joss, who was a Hall of Famer. He had died that April from tubercular meningitis. And people just loved Addie Joss, and they really wanted to do something for his family in the event of his death. So the paid attendance for that game was 15,272 people. And players and management, they all chipped in too. And they raised over twice his salary for that year, which was $12,914. And that's over $400,000 in today's money. So that really went a long way to help the family as they move forward after the loss. Sometime after that, there was a gentleman by the name of F.C. Hall, and he was a writer for Baseball Magazine, and he wanted to see the creation of a 7-game series played throughout the month of July every year. That seems a bit much to me. 20 years later, Chicago Tribune writer Arch Ward thought that playing an All-Star Game during the 1933 World's Fair would be exciting, and they could make it an annual event year after year. So he thought that the admissions to the game could also be contributed to the players' pension fund, and that's kind of how it got started. But I always think about, there must have been some barnstorming games and things like that back prior to 33, but there were no All-Star games. So we never got to see Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Honus Wagner and Walter Johnson and Pie Traynor and all these guys that could have played each other. And I know we probably wouldn't be able to watch any video of that, but it would be fun to see stills and maybe listen to old broadcasts of those All-Star games. But no, never going to happen. There were several years that Major League players played 2 All-Star games in a year. There were 2 games played in the years from 1959 to 1962. And that's why you see Hank Aaron set a record with 25 All-Star selections in his 23-year career. Now, that idea that F.C. Hall had about playing a week in July of All-Star games, even though that was a bit much, I'm going to do something because that kind of inspired me to run a program every day between now and the All-Star Game on the 16th. And it's going to be something about the cards that were issued for All-Star players. Now, we're only going to show players that have the All-Star designation on the card. That's a little star or the bunting or whatever it is that's on there that designates them as an all-star. So even though somebody may have played in an all-star game, they're not going to be represented in these programs between now and the all-star game. Now, this first show is pretty much my opinion because it is my favorite all-time all-star team. I've assembled this. I've gone through all the cards that existed between the years of 1951 to about 1990. That's going to be the time covered for these cards. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, it's going to be all Tigers. There's a few represented there. But I did put together a group of knowledgeable and fair-minded judges to help me stay on the straight and narrow. So they're going to be able to, keep me honest. And here they are. Okay. Maybe they're not distinguished, but I think they're pretty handsome. What do you think? Okay. Rules, as I said before, I'm only going to use cards designated as all-star players in this show, and I'm using the best eye appeal, nostalgia, and creative design as criteria. And I'm sure my judges will back me up on this. So, you ready? Let's get this show on the road. Let's take a look at my all-time all-star favorite catchers for the American League. 1951 Topps Major League All-Stars, Yogi Berra. Yogi is the classic stereotype-looking guy for the 1950s ball player, and this card really shows that off. Yogi Berra for the American League, and for the National League, Johnny Bench from 1976. This is an awesome card. He looks like a warrior out there. All right, now for the first baseman for the American League, I choose the 1962, number 466, Norm Cash. Yep, I'm a homer. I'm going to say that up front because Norm Cash was awesome, especially those years, 61, 62. And for the National League, Stan Musial. Now, he played a lot of first base, so I've included him in that position. I know he was an outfielder for a long time as well. Playing second base on my all-time all-star teams for the American League, 1969, Rod Carew. That's a great card, isn't it? And for the National League, 1978's Joe Morgan. Look at that guy smiling, happy to be alive, playing ball. At shortstop, the American League, I'm going to be choosing the 1951 Topps Major League All-Stars, Phil Rizzuto. Scooter was one of the most athletic ball players of his day. If you look at all of his old cards, he's jumping, leaping, flying through the air, and this card is pretty cool as well. Phil Rizzuto, he's my shortstop. Now my shortstop for the National League, Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. This is from 1960 and is number 560. Third baseman, the third sacker for my American League team is Brooks Robinson from the 1962 card set, and this is number 468. Brooks is one of my favorite players. I like the way his uniform looks in this card. National League third sacker will be the 1960 Topps 558 Eddie Matthews. What a slugger that guy was. And speaking of sluggers, let's get that slugging outfield together. Playing left on my team, I'm going to go with Teddy Baseball. Topps number 485, Ted Williams. This is a great card of Ted. Hey, and if you're looking to buy a Ted Williams and you think they're all really expensive, this is an option that is a little more affordable than the rest, and it's a sweet-looking card. In the National League, I'm going with Hank Aaron. Yeah, I know. Normally, he's a right fielder, but he played 315 games in left during his career, and I really need to get him in on the starting lineup. I mean, it's the hammer. Judges, what do you say? Thank you, Your Honor. In center, the American League chooses Mickey Mantle, the 1959 Topps card number 564. Look at that thing shine. Woo! And the National League chooses the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. Here he is on his 1958 Topps number 486. We miss him so already. All right, now let's take a look at right field. Now, I have to issue a full disclaimer here. My favorite ball player is Al Kaline, and that's who I'm choosing for the American League to play right field. Look at him. I love that guy. National League, the great Roberto Clemente. Here's his 1968 card, number 374. Let's get down to starting pitchers. My American League team is fronted by Whitey Ford, and this is his All-Star card from 1961, number 568. And the National League, I'm going with the great-looking card from Don Drysdale, 1960s, number 570. All right, that's it. Now, you got a glimpse of my favorite ball players. I'd like to know who your favorite players were and how you might differ from what I chose. Drop your comments down below. I'd like to see it. Now, tomorrow's program, it's going to be a little different than this. It's going to be the best All-Star cards offered by Topps over the years. There might be some repeats, but there's going to be some new ones too, and I think you're going to be surprised. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, you're not guaranteed happiness in this life. You got to bring it to yourself. So bring it with peace and happiness through baseball cards. Talk soon.
Cardboard meditation helps set your mind right. Thank you for watching. Show us your appreciation by clicking the like and subscribe button. Ring the bell while you're at it so you'll know when we upload a new story.